So Top Hat Studios, while they have admitted to not censoring since the Cyberpunk ghost story, they have shown the threats that were sent to them by Twitter puritans, and also game journalists have now come to attack Top Hat as well, to no one's surprise. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have it better tomorrow. So Top Hat Studios, they have revealed some very disturbing messages that were sent to them by the outraged clown mob. And I mean, this stuff is some really bad things that they have said and sent to them, which we're going to go over some of it. We're going to look into it. As well as game journalists are now already starting to make articles attacking Top Hat Studios because they're being successful, because they're making money off of their game, because they're not going to censor their game. Which, no one's surprised the game journalists would do this, but we're going to get into an article about that as well. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to thank every single last one of you. The channel has finally broke over 2,000 subs, and I can't thank you all enough for that. I mean, I truly appreciate it, and, you know, you all are awesome, and I appreciate your support. I mean, without all of you, this channel would be nothing. I would be nothing, and I want to thank you all so very much for your continued support. It really means the world to me, and I just want to thank you all so very much. So thank you all so very much for your support. I truly do appreciate it. And I just wanted to let everybody know, heads up, Q&A will be out tomorrow. So I hope you all are looking forward to it as I am. So I'm excited and hope you all are as well. Now, without further ado, let's get into this. Let's look at this article first. So this article was by Game Rant. Top Hat Studios and Cyberpunk anime games since anti-censorship or viral marketing. Top Hat Studios has stated that it will not censor since a Cyberpunk ghost story, although it looks like nobody even asked in the first place. Oh, yeah, nobody asked in the first place? Well, those messages really seem to differ. Like I said, we're going to take a look at those in a moment, but in the modern day, what Top Hat Studios has done is a very brave thing, because most companies, what are they doing for the most part? Oh, well, they are censoring games. Whenever the clown mob starts to scream and screech, because they're like, oh, sexy woman, bad! Like, whenever that's happening, well, these studios, these companies will usually bend the knee. But thankfully, Top Hat Studios, well, they're smart, because they're not doing that, which has made a lot of clowns on Twitter, as well as game journalists, absolutely furious. On Friday, January 1st, Top Hat Studios posted a tweet about Since, a Cyberpunk ghost story that's since gone viral. Developed by Suzuki and published by Top Hat itself, Since is a horror game that perpetually combines the cyberpunk genre with traditional Cantonese folklore. It also boasts a aesthetic that has caused quite a bit of stir over the last few days, instigating discourse about censorship or a lack thereof. Essentially, Top Hat has suggested that it receive a deluge of requests to censor Since after it was revealed that it would be coming to Nintendo Switch on January 7th. In response, Top Hat said it will not censor the game because of self-centered cowards who care solely about grandstanding, which, was in their entire tweet, which, by the way, I just want to say that their tweet standing up to these idiots was one of the most beautiful things ever. I mean, seriously, bravo to Top Hat. Gotta give them credit. I talked about that in the previous video, and they did an excellent job. Admittedly, this all reads strangely. A quick Google search will show you that Since launched for PC back in August 2020 and received in and around 60 reviews over the course of the 4 months following that. That number has almost tripled since Top Hat published a statement on Friday, which leads to a healthy dose of skepticism as to the veracity of its intentions. One Steam reviewer notes on January 1st that they bought the game to reward Top Hat Studios for giving a big middle finger to the SJW cancel mob. They had 0.4 hours logged at the time of the review. Another reviewer admits that they never would have even given the game a second look if it had not been for the stir on Twitter, but says they appreciate that this developer had the balls to stand up to the SJWs and tell them to shove off instead of cowering and kowtowing to the whims of the fickle and perpetually offended. This kind of attitude, you might have guessed, represents the bulk of new reviews since January 1st. And see, look, if more studios would be like Top Hat, you better believe that more people would be going to them, because they know that they're going to get a product that's not going to be censored or altered, that the creativity has not been cut to fit some standards. What's funny here is that a lot of people don't even appear to like the game. Prior to the controversy from this weekend, Since maintained a relatively positive Steam rating with just a few negative reviews interspersed throughout the overall amount. Now, however, reviews like this one are starting to creep in, which includes sentiments like, I have very little intention of playing this game, it's just not my thing. The person who wrote this has logged 0.4 hours and gave since a positive review because of that. In their words, the moral clarity and bravery of Top Hat. I could go on, but it suffices to say that the large amount of the more recent reviews, which constitute over 60% of the overall amount since August, are just saying F SJWs. Yeah, that's because you should. You should say screw them and not listen to what they have to say and make a game or whatever else you're creating the way you want it to be. Because, as everybody knows, screw SJWs because they are never going to support anything they screech about. They just do it to try to ruin the fun of people who enjoy the game, or they just try to take away the success from the creators. That's what they do. I mean, it's disgusting, but it's how they work. With 0.1 hours played and an addendum stating that they probably won't return to Sense. One person even said that they were going to buy a new Switch just to purchase another copy of the game. It's all a bit ludicrous, but then again, it's not really, because this is how the anti-SJW crowd has been once again played by edgy marketing. It's hatred all over again. And what they do next, I mean, I want you to pay close attention to this next paragraph, because they tried to state that they are liars. They try to state that Top Hat Studio are a bunch of liars. I'm not even kidding. Top Hat has since gone on to collect some of the messages and replies it has received via Twitter and other platforms. The thread is 5 tweets long, although 3 of these are just smaller segments of the image included in the parent tweet. You could assume this was done to allow people to see close-ups of the messages, but in reality, we all have access to Zoom functions, and the third tweet, as opposed to the second or fifth, is the new one, which makes it look like more of a bloating technique than anything else. Not that this excuses some of the direct messages portrayed in the screenshots. Notice how they said excuses some. Some. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, the messages that were sent to them is completely unacceptable. I mean, it's disgusting. This is what Top Hat said, and this is their tweet. They stated, "We originally did not want to make this post as to not accidentally incite a search for these posters and cause further fights. However, as there are now industry adjacent people slandering, gaslighting us as liars, we've compiled a sampling from Twitter, Facebook, and email." And I mean, this is very disgusting, the things that was sent to Top Hat Studios. I mean, all of this. This is their post right here. And I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of these because this is horrible. Like, I mean, these messages are just awful. And this is what Puritans do. They try to go in, they try to take away the success from somebody. They see that somebody's being successful, and they see that they're making a product that people enjoy, that people like. And then, of course, what do? They go, well, we got to ruin them. We got to ruin them. And that's what they go and do. And I mean, this is some really horrible stuff. Skepticism is healthy in this industry, but it is not universally applied. Not only were many of these comments actively findable in 10 seconds to verify, but many curious individuals seem to have a vetted interest in slandering us as liars because of their connections. Now, look at this. For example, some people are saying, women's voices are being denied in the industry, men pretending to be women are invading safe spaces for female developers, and now you gotta bring out a game like Sense to make things even harder for women. Like, can you not do this? Like, what? How is this hurting women? How is this hard for women? This is ridiculous. This is absurd. The art's over-sexualizes degraded women. Typical Japanese anime looking sexualized trash. Another one. Oh, this one's pretty bad right here, okay? Look at this. Disgusting. Hope you get shot effing incels. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what? This is horrible. Stupid effing garbage incel BS you're peddling. Hope you get the rope. Like, look, this is horrible stuff. Shouldn't be said to anybody. This is horrible. And yet game journalists are trying to pretend that, oh, which, you know, they're just doing this for attention. No, this is real. This is real stuff right here. You know, they are getting attacked, as you can see, and this is just horrible. This is awful. This should not be happening. And it's all because they won't censor their game, which is good. They should not censor their game. But as you can see, it's a very brave thing to do within the modern day. And this is a very small group of people who get upset over this, and then they have like bot accounts that they use also to just go after somebody with as well. Like it's terrible stuff, but we see this all the time. This is nothing new, but it's disgusting. It shouldn't happen in the first place. And if you pay close attention here to this one, I've worked in tech a long time. It's generally a great field to work in, full of thoughtful, mindful folks who want to make the world a better place. I know it's not the same as the game industry, but even I can see that you're a bunch of Yahtzee shitheads up against the wall. Like, this is some very disgusting stuff. A lot of derogatory things were said here, and it looked like there was also some anti-tranny things as well. I mean, like, look, you're seeing a lot of terrible things from the people who say that we're progressive. Yeah, really progressive here, huh? I mean, they're not progressive. They try to pretend like they are. You'll see this a lot of the time, but they're really not. And they think they have the moral authority to tell people what they can and can't consume. That should be up to the customer. It shouldn't be up to these idiotic clowns what people can and can't buy. Because, for example, in their eyes, they see it as a woman's been sexualized. How dare they? Like that. Like, these people are insane. They're absolutely nuts. And, the way that they act here, like I said, it's disgusting, but this is what you see Puritans do all the time. This is nothing new. And this is what they do all the time, try to get things canceled. This is exactly how they act. And it's disgusting behavior. It really is. As you can continue to see, disgusting incel garbage. Can't you keep your cesspools in 4chan? And here's another one. I don't think Nintendo are going to be happy to learn incel fantasies are being thrown out on their platform. Everyone on my network is letting them know you're going to feel really stupid when they pull the rug out from under you. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't give a shit. Like, whatever makes them money, that's what they're okay with. The only time they really censor anything is their first party stuff. It's usually about it. Unlike Sony, which censors anything that doesn't fit their standards. And I mean, this is horrible how Top Hat Studios is treated by these Puritans. And I mean, it goes to show you how awful they really are. And it's just horrible. It's frustrating to see them act this way. And as you can see, the article even points out this tweet. And then they state, the public tweets here are relatively tame for the most part. These are tame. These are tame to them. These are tame. So going and trying to say that people should end themselves, that's tame. Or that they should get shot, that's apparently tame. That's disgusting. Like, who in the right mind thinks this is okay? This is not okay behavior. This is not tame. This is horrible. These are threats. I mean, this is terrible. They're not really calls for censorship so much as they are expressions of general disapproval towards the game's stylistic choices, which is something that happens with every game ever. Also, a lot of them are justified. So a lot of these are justified. A lot of these are... keep this in mind. This article states a lot of these are justified. This is why nobody trusts game journalists, because of this. This is not good. This should not be justified. These are attacks. This is horrible. Art styles like this are outdated. No, they're not. This is stupid. They're not outdated. That's not a call for censorship. Yes, it is. It's a fact of style. Is it censorship when the anti-SJW crowd complained that Abby's arms were too big in The Last of Us Part 2? So now they try to compare this to The Last of Us Part 2. You see, what they're salty about is that since a Cyberpunk Ghost Story gets all this defense, but yet they are really mad that The Last of Us Part 2 with pro golf swinger Abby didn't get this kind of defense. The DMs are more damning, and I feel for the devs receiving them. There is never an excuse to send death threats to real people, regardless of how you feel about them. I'm all for criticism of a text, but you don't have to take it to an individual level and make it about a real human being. That's the lowest of the low. Yeah, well, you look at this. These are not tame. This is not criticism. These are straight up attacks on these people. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is not how anybody should act. I mean, it's not. And this is how these Puritans act, sadly enough. I mean, that's how crazy they are. They are this disgusting. It's important to note that while I am sympathetic to the devs receiving horrible messages, the rest of Top Hat's statements proves no evidence for its claims. From what I can see, there has been no review bombing and no mass cries for censorship. That was all mass cries for censorship. Like, what are they talking about? That was all mass cries for censorship. The parts of the statement that, quote, criticisms against the game represent things that very few people actually said, but they have been Sensationalized to make the game appear as some kind of anti-censorship, anti-SJW product that is enticing for the same kind of people who abused others about Cyberpunk 2077 before even playing it. The biggest proof of this is that Sense had already gotten past its platform test. There's no need to discuss censorship unless you want to trigger a market campaign. There is no pressure to change the game from anyone outside of a small demographic that won't play it. Anyway, so why amplify it and say the game will not be censored? We categorically refuse. Well, they say that because of all the threats that they had gotten, all the attacks they had gotten on the game. I mean, that's why. Ultimately, this reads as a call to arms. It's pandering to people who will do exactly what this article has highlighted. Buy a game they have zero to no interest in to support a self-righteous ideological cause that doesn't exist outside of their own heads. Criticizing a game for its art style isn't censorship, it's criticism. No, when you try to say that, oh, well, sexy woman, bad, and then they say that a woman doesn't look like that, you have to change the art because it hurts people. Yes, that's censorship. Just saying. On the contrary, lambasting criticism and attempting to snuff it out with overblown marketing ploys designed to sell copies of an upcoming Switch port for a quickly forgotten game is far closer to the kind of censorship it proclaims to be rebelling against, if only because it is censoring meaning by intentional manipulating truth. If Nintendo asked for Sense to be censored, you can guarantee it would have been. But Nintendo didn't ask for it to be censored. Well, it's because they have policies against themselves censoring third-party games. They leave that up to the creator. And virtually nobody else did either. The only parties talking about censorship are Top Hat and the people it has riled up to buy a game that nobody on either side really cares about. But the tweets say otherwise. The tweets and the DMs and the messages, they all say otherwise. I mean, when you look at the clowns, what were they doing? They were trying to pressure Top Hat into bending the knee so that they would censor their game. Otherwise, they were threatening, some very terrible things, as well as suing them. They were going to say that they were going to take them to court. I mean, seriously, they were going to whatever lengths to try to get Top Hat to bend the knee, to censor the game. So if they're to sit over here and say that, oh no, this is just criticism, no, they were pressuring them hard to censor this game. That's what these Puritans were doing. And attacking them because they wouldn't censor it. And Top Hat, they didn't censor the game. And that's why people are buying it, because they want to stand with a studio that is going to not censor the game and keep its creativity the way it's meant to be. And look, if many other studios were just like Top Hat, you better believe people would be jumping on board to support their games too if they were interested in them. They definitely would, and it's a learning lesson for many studios out there. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you were new here, and make sure you were still subscribed, because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like, and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated, and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, video will keep you up to date on when the news videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.